Oh boy, we need to talk.
Take me far away, I think I've had enough. I can't do no more, I'm finally breaking. You lost all my trust, I'm walking out the door. Don't let me keep taking me away.
All right, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Wolfpack Podcast with your host, Wolfson, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly topics that happen on a weekly basis in the entertainment industry. So without further ado, let's get down with shitstance. But before we get started, here's something I need to apologize to you guys, my audience, my loyal followers who always listen to my podcast every week, man. And you guys are wondering what the hell happened the past 2 weeks, Wolfson. Like, what's going on? All right, guys, hear me out. I'm very sorry that you guys didn't receive any podcasts. There were 2 episodes that actually got recorded for the last 2 weeks. Problem is that the video resolution out of it became choppy. Like, the audio was on point, and you know what? I could have released the audio versions of those podcasts. But then again, what about the video part? The video part was just bad. And instead of just like releasing an entire episode with just one bit screen and you guys just get to listen instead of also looking at it, I'd rather give you my best of me. I'd rather give you my product at its fully best form ever. You know, I don't want to give a half-ass project to you guys. I don't want to give you a half-ass episode. That's not how I work. I want to make sure that you guys get the best out of me, and that includes, you know, giving, you know, some of my best content performances. You know, so for some reason, I don't know why. I have a Logitech Brio 4K camera. I don't know why isn't becoming choppy. Maybe it's the laptop. Maybe Mac cannot handle while recording, but PCs can. So if this is like the first time that I'm gonna try this episode, and if it doesn't fail, I'm just gonna put it out there without any other visuals, just in case if it gets choppy. And on the next episode, I'm just gonna record it on my laptop Razer Blade, which is a PC, and it never fails. But, you know, you would assume that Apple will do great jobs.
Gotcha, bitch.
And that's one of the topics that I definitely want to talk about, because I also said that, all right, like if there's nothing that really happened on the week and becomes a very slow week, then I would like to dedicate the episode, at least for the most of the episode, on technical parts or specific topics, like, you know, the Grammys are rigged, or what do you guys think about Ableton and Logic, or some other tech choices, you know? And if you guys got a specific topic, guys, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know, and I'll be more than happy to talk about it. It's like, the more stuff that you bring me, the more I'll put it out there, you know? So, of course, and I decided, like, you know, it's best for me, instead of leaving you guys hanging with there was nothing this week, I would rather give you some technical advice and all this. So, one of the few things that I definitely want to talk about on this episode is Apple's versus PC, you know? Something that a lot of music producers have this dilemma on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, yearly basis, you know, deciding on which one to use when you're trying to make music production, you know, or even mixing master, or whoever needs a computer. You know, what is the best option for it? To make it very, very simple for you guys, it doesn't matter which option you choose, whether you want to choose a PC or you want to choose an Apple MacBook Pro. That's fine by me. Either one is a great option, as long as that as long as they have like the specs that you're looking for that can support of what you're trying to look for. Then yeah, by all means, go for it. You know, obviously prices flex, and you can make the argument that MacBook prices are ridiculously high, that you'd rather go on a PC or a built-in PC or a built-in custom-made laptop. You know, like the Alienwares have their own custom-made laptops, the Razers, which is what I got. Like I pre-built my laptop. I say I want this, and this. And that's how I got it delivered. I wonder who else does the laptops. There were other people other than Razer and Alienware. the Aces as well. Yeah, like you can just custom make your own laptop, and you choose the specs that you want. You can basically have a laptop, a PC built-in laptop that can probably match the same specs as an Apple MacBook Pro on any size. It doesn't matter whether it's a 13 or a 14 now or a 15 or 17. It doesn't matter what the size can hold. You know, like you can put whatever you want. You can probably have the same specs as a MacBook Pro. And yes, you'll find it a whole lot cheaper going for a PC laptop or a Windows laptop than you would on a MacBook Pro. But then what makes the difference between them? What makes it like I'd rather go with a MacBook because it's safer rather than the Windows? To be honest, I'm gonna push back on that logic. MacBook Pros are safe. It's a good process and they'll process fit good. I'm gonna push back on the fact that it's safe. It is not safe. In my whole lifetime, I probably have 1, 2, 3, and this is my 4th MacBook Pro. Yeah. 4 MacBook Pros in my lifetime. And I bought my first MacBook Pro. I bought it when I was my early 20s. Early 20s, yeah. Around there. I got my first MacBook Pro in my early 20s. That one lasted. When I got to SAE Miami, I got myself, they gave me a new MacBook Pro. And the cool thing about it, the hard drive was way bigger than the one that I had. And I can upgrade my RAM. It was like a 8 gigabytes. I could upgrade it to 16. And that's what I did. I upgraded to 16 RAMs of Giga. So I imagine a MacBook Pro for music production and audio engineering, 500 gigabytes and 16 RAMs. Obviously, at that time, 2014, I was like, whoa, that's dope. That's dope. You could get more out of it. Yes. But every instructor or professor or audio engineer that I went to school there, they always tells us, always have a backup of the backup of a backup. Because there will be times in which shit will hit the fan and it will fail. NANI? Let me be clear, guys. There will be times in which your Mac will fail or your program will fail and you need backup of all that stuff. I was like, man, they don't know what they're talking about, man. No, these MacBooks go, they're amazing. Why not? Like, why should I care? Oh, it's true. It's true. Because my MacBook Pro has failed me like at least 2 or 3 times. NANI? 2 or 3 times. Emotional, damn it. In which it shut down, it got frozen, hard drive failed, and I lost everything. Yeah. Bruh. Like that. MacBooks, MacBook Pros.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
And luckily, the majority of the work that I already had, has been already uploaded either on my 2 or 3 external hard drives that I had, or it's already been added at the cloud. I kid you not. If it wasn't for all that backup, I would have never continued back to my old strategies or my old projects. It was ridiculous that it had to feel like this 2 or 3 times, and then the 2 times was when I was traveling. That's when it failed the most, when I was traveling.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
I've never heard anything bad in regards to the built-in Windows. I could be wrong. Somebody can let me know in the comments, but I've never heard anything bad. So when I heard that, when I started to see like, oh my God, it's fucking up and it's, going downwards, that's why I decided like, I'm going to switch to PC. And I decided to switch on the Razer because Razer is a gaming PC. It's a gaming company and they have gaming laptops and gaming PCs for the gamers. It's for the gamers. And you're like, but you're not a gamer. It's like, motherfucker, yes, I am a gamer. I just don't stream it like many others. That's been there, done that. All right. But the amount of performance that a gamer needs to record its gaming while, they're playing and whatnot, it's astronomically high. And by having it that high and that high performance, and I tell you, is when you actually can have that same performance on a DAW, on a DAW, like an Ableton or a Logic or a Pro Tools, whatnot. Because those programs already is asking the computer that we need to handle something big, and that so we can execute our performance and it doesn't feel like we're lagging or freezing. Well, why'd you know it that a lot of these gaming PCs can take that? In fact, they could take more. That's why as soon as I heard that and I started making research and whatnot and listening to the forums and listening to the reviews of certain computers and whatnot, I made with the best bet by going with my Razer Blade 15. I kid you not. To this day, it's still working. I think it's been 5 years. It's 20. Let me see. I got it on 2018, right? 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Wow. Yeah, 5 years, basically. And it still works like brand new. I press button, 10 seconds, it's everything has been loaded up to my screen, my main screen. 10 seconds. That's how long it took. I press Ableton, opens up, no problem. I press Premiere, opens up, no problem. Opens up OBS, opens up, no problem. Me going on Ableton with doing Serum, because for some reason Serum likes to take as much processes, fly like an angel. Literally. And for the longest time, that's how I did all my podcasts and my music production. I just bring my, my laptop, my Blade 13, not 15. 15 is actually pretty big. And I love it. Yeah, it has no issues whatsoever. It hasn't given me any issues. Any issues that indicates like, oh, we're about to fail. None. Just a few updates that I got to do here and there. Just a few things that I need to clear space, because I have a lot of space. And mind you, this laptop itself, it has 2 hard drives inside. It has a 256 solid state drive, and then it has a 2 terabyte Fusion drive. That's a lot. You will say that's a lot. Yeah, it is a lot. But that's exactly why I bought it. Because at that time, a lot of the MacBook Pros doesn't let you have 2 hard drives. It only leaves you 1. And the one that you get is not even solid state. It's a Fusion drive. And sometimes it's a 1 terabyte. It's nothing. It's nothing. Especially as music producers and audio engineers and video editors, it's nothing, because our spaces are way too big. So we have to get stuff like that big, So for the longest time, I've been having, Razer blades, and I love it. That's my opinion of it based on my experience. Ever since then, my work has been giving me, MacBook Pros. Like, I had a 13 before this one. 13 was good. It's dope. It was dope for performance, editing and whatnot, but it was very small. It was like 128 gigabytes of hard drives, like the bare minimum. Imagine me working with the bare minimum. Yeah, it was hell for a year or two, that I had to. But obviously the processor and the RAM was good. Problem is with some of the MacBook Pros that we are having right now, and I think the MacBook Pros after 2015 or 2016, something around that time, because I remember I had all my Pros before 2015, and I was able to easily upgrade. If I ever want to upgrade, I can just like replace the RAMs with a brand new RAM. I can replace the hard drive with a brand new hard drive, and yada yada yada. Like it's possible. It is possible. Problem is, after 2016, I think the reason why people were buying a lot of MacBook Pros is so they could actually later buy the parts and upgrade it. So basically, you buy a MacBook Pro 13, you keep the processor. Processor is dope, and you just replace the RAM and the hard drive to whatever it's capable of, depending on the year. I remember, I think like the highest that it can handle was like 32 gigabytes of RAM. I could be wrong. It probably was 16. But I remember that I was thinking of upgrading to 32. I just upgraded to 16 because I know that's like the safest route to go. And I could have upgraded from 500 to 1 tera because that's how much it can hold. And I remember at that time, a lot of people were buying the bare minimum and they just mess it up as much as they can, as much as the MacBook is allowed to go through, you know? And obviously, Apple, for being greedy they decided to like, no, we can't have that because, damn, we're losing money. We're selling the MacBook Pro for $25, like for $2,000. And the higher version of the Mac Pro is like 27. But here, these people are buying the MacBook Pro for the bare minimum for 2,000, and they spend like $100, $200 on the highest upgrade of it. We lose money. So no, we need to cut that. How do we do that? Here's how they did it. They smolder all their circuits. And for those of you who doesn't know that term or doesn't know what I'm talking about, let me paint you a picture. And every computer and everything that's electronic, there's a circuit board. I'm pretty sure we all have seen it before. It's like a little green, card, and it has little dots and it has little lines that's connected to little other pieces. We call those the resistors, the capacitors, all that stuff. And all that is, connected to the computer. So that way the computer can function. Every little electronic thing has that. What was the issue? Well, the issue is that every computer has that, and it was easily detachable. It was easily detachable because we just have to unscrew the cables out of it. Not the cables, but more like the lines that connect to the circuit board, because it's like a big Lego. If you look at it in Lego terms, it's like basically I got this little piece that goes with this piece, and you just like boop, and that's it. And it was detachable. So basically, if it fails, I could just boop and replace it with a new one. That's exactly what everybody was doing because everything was detachable, how it should be. It's like, okay, it's not failing. I don't want to buy a new Mac, but it's going to cost me thousands of dollars. I would rather spend hundreds of dollars on a new piece of parts and pieces, and I still can use my MacBook. Competing the obsolete. Like I don't like making my computer obsolete with that. I don't have to replace it. That was the thing. People were doing that. So to eliminate that problem, so that way it forces you to go buy a new MacBook, a new Apple product, they smolder the pieces. So when I say they smolder, so remember earlier when I told you there were like Lego blocks that, they have a little claws and there's like where you put the holes and you just like connect it like this, boop. So these little holes right here, when you connect it to the block, it stays right there where my hand is. See these little tips on my finger right here? So what they do is that they burn it. They burn these little things so that way it is stuck in the block and you can't detach it. That's what it smolder is. Oh, but but burning it, what? Wouldn't that affect the motherboard, the circuit? Wouldn't that burn it and it'll fuck it up? No, because there's actually tools for that. It's called a Bunsen burner for circuits. It's like it's like a pen looking thing, but it's hot as shit. I hardly tell people do not touch the tip of it. When it's connected, do not touch, because it's like connecting like an oven. On every oven, there's like little lines that turns, orange to make the whole oven, hot. That's exactly what it is. And it's like a pen figure that you grab it on the bottom and then you go to the smaller parts and you burn them. And to answer your question, does it fuck up the circuit? No, because those little pieces, those that are in my tip, those are copper. They're not part of the circuit. They're part of the resistors and the capacitors and whatnot. But as long as you burn it, it doesn't. As long as you burn the copper of it to smolder back to the circuit board, and if it can relay the information passing by, you shouldn't have any problems. That's how a lot of the circuit boards work. You actually smolder them, and whatever power or resistance that you're giving up, it can still pass by all the lines. So Apple figured that out, and they managed to do it, and it worked. And now all their MacBook Pros are not their MacBook Pros, their iPhones, their iPads, their MacBook Airs, their iMacs, their towers. Everything is like, no, you want to buy this You want to buy this? This is the specs. This is the specs. Take it or leave it. You wanted the highest? This is the highest. This is how much we're charging. Take it or leave it. And they don't give a shit because people will buy it regardless, which sucks. It sucks ass because like, damn, now you're forcing me to spend more money on something that I really need to. That's how Apple works. So that's why there's like the comparison between PCs and Apples. You know, they go back and forth. Well, with a PC, if something breaks, you can just easily replace it. That's why a lot of built-in PCs, they cost like a great PC with all the performance that you want and all the stuff. A great PC can cost you $2,300 versus a great iMac Tower or a great iMac or a MacBook Pro to the highest, you know, cost you like 3 to 4 G's or more. It's like, obviously, I'm going to go there. But earlier I said, what is better from performance-wise? Macs or Windows? And I said also as well that it all depends on what you're trying to achieve because both ways can work perfectly fine. Like I can do edits on my MacBook Pro the same amount I can do edits on my Razer Blade. They work perfectly, but there is definitely a difference on both ends. And it's something that I've been noticing in the past 2 weeks as I've been recording on this MacBook with OBS and try to record the podcast. There is a big difference. The difference is big, but it's like it's so small that you didn't even notice it until you realize this is why all my videos are getting choppy. This is why this is not working, this and that. The big difference is that Windows are good to render stuff and record stuff and stream stuff on the point. Apples are not. That's the difference. What do you think that a lot of your favorite YouTube streamers or Twitch streamers or wherever streamers you watch, they all have built-in PCs. And you see their built-in PCs, they're like, holy shit, like rainbows and colors and shit and whatnot. And you can see what's inside there. Like, it's like top of the line crap, you know? It's like, whoa, what is this, you know? Why you think? Because they built in enough that it needs to have the highest performance when they're streaming and recording all at the same time. Because not only you're streaming something, you're recording it, video and audio, so it needs to be on point. And as well, you're also playing a video game, which that adds more to it. If you're playing a video game on the PC, like, yeah, you need a high performance. Like, top of the line, because you're recording, you're streaming it, you're talking to your people, and you're playing your video game at the highest performance, like at the highest FPS, at the highest, you know, all that. That's why a lot of people recommend, you know, if you're gonna be streaming, it's on Windows because Windows can allow you to do that. Apple on the other side, it doesn't let you do that. Apple has that problem that the processor is good, but it's processing stuff, like taking information and saying, even though it has a solid state drive, it don't matter. It's processing by trying to record stuff all simultaneously. It has that lagging problem. It is what it is. However, it has that problem. But when it comes to the post-production, like literally editing the videos or editing the audio or making music or whatnot, oh no, top of the line. Its performance is much more greater than on a built-in PC. I have to give them that. So basically, Windows is great at pre-production and regular production by streaming and whatnot. And Apple is great at post-production, editing, adding stuff and whatnot. You can make the argument, obviously, that if you have a Windows PC and it has its highest performance, that you can do the post-production and do all editing just as much as the Windows. You can make the argument, absolutely, because I told you, my Razer can do everything. Literally, it can do everything. It can do Ableton and it can do Premiere and everything. And I have cousins that actually have, built-in PCs that they can do everything as well. But I have to tell you, the level of smoothness on MacBooks when I'm editing and how quick it is to export some of these audio and video clips, like you can see the difference. And it can hold up any of the highest resolution at any of the highest format of it, So my opinion, I like the best of both worlds because I got the best of both worlds. I got myself a MacBook Pro and I got myself a Windows. But if I were to choose what I want to do overall, I will always stick with the Windows. Why? Because, like I said, post-production with MacBook Pros, Apple, its post-production is next level. It's phenomenal and it's always going to be great. But I can still do that on a Windows. And it gives me a guarantee that it's not going to fail. And if it does fail, it's just a part that I can just detach and buy a new part and replace it, and that's it. Versus, buying a whole new computer because it cannot be replaceable. And if it happens to this MacBook, I have to take it to a tech store or Apple store, and they're gonna tell me like, man, the motherboard is done or the hard drive failed. You need to replace with a new computer. You can't replace it because it's smaller. That's what they're gonna tell me.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
That's why they say Apple Cares protection plan is actually worth getting it if you're having it, because if it does fail, they'll replace you with a brand new computer. They'll just give you a new one, and you don't have to pay any extra because you already have Apple Care. So there's your pros and cons a little bit, and you get to decide, Juice. But like I said, my personal opinion, I will end up doing a Windows. I'd rather have a built-in laptop Windows, which I have, a Blade 15, and I also would like to have a tower, a PC, a custom-made PC. Absolutely. For longevity purposes, absolutely. Because I can still do everything. I can still do whatever I do here in this MacBook. I can still do it in the Windows. There's no difference, Sure, again, MacBook has a better performance and it's much more smoother than the Windows, but I can still do it. It's not forbidding me. It's not stopping me from not doing it. So if you're becoming a music producer, don't ever believe oh yeah, get the MacBook. The MacBook, it's never going to fail. No, it can fail. It definitely fails. And when it does fail, you need to get a new one. That's why it's always worth getting a new computer. Getting a new Apple Care. That's what it's worth if you're going for the Apple. But honestly, you can do a lot of stuff with the bare minimum just to have a Windows laptop that can do all these performance that can handle it. With Windows, absolutely. I will always recommend everybody to get yourself a gaming laptop, because you can get a gaming laptop for half the price of what a MacBook Pro can sell it to you, and you can match it up, the specs and everything. 100%. So if you're an up-and-coming and you decide like, what laptop do I want when I start this journey, just go with the PC. Just go with the Windows. You don't need an Apple. Like, that's just being bougie at that point, But those are my thoughts, So I just want to put that out because I feel like it's necessary to talk about it, and I wanted to show you guys the reasons behind, because I couldn't bring you guys episodes last 2 weeks. So let's move on to the next topic, because this is something that I talked about last week and I didn't get to put it out there. So I'm just gonna be very brief. It's gonna be a very brief thing. Rihanna's Super Bowl. Here's the thing. I hear a lot of controversy. I saw it. It was a good performance. Good, average. Do I feel it was lackluster? Yes. Do I feel like it was overhyped? Yes. Do I feel that Rihanna did a great job? Yes, absolutely. She did a phenomenal job. And the surprise of having a baby, like she's pregnant, is like, obviously that's all she can do. Just go on the platforms and move from side to side. And that, like, hey, that's Rihanna. That's her prerogative, But like I said earlier, even though she did good, it was still lackluster. Why? Like I said earlier as well, it was overhyped. It was Rihanna's first performance in a long, long time. And a lot of people were like, oh, I can't wait to hear certain songs and this and that. And that's the problem. A lot of people were expecting to sing some of these songs, and some of the collabs that she has done, like the Eminems, the Drakes, the JCs, and the Kanye's, which she played most of that. She didn't play any of the Drake or the Eminems, but she played the Chris Brown track Birthday Cake, the beat for a bit, and then she switched it, and then she's played all the lights with Kanye West and the Run This Time with Kanye West and JC and the Umbrella song with like that one that JC brought her up. Like there was a lot to expect, and I love to hear a lot of people saying that, oh no, she did a phenomenal job. This was a great Super Bowl for I don't know if you've been living under the rock, but last year's Super Bowl performance was amazing. That was a great one. The Weeknd, another one. It was an amazing one. J-Lo and Shakira, to me, that's the number one so far. That's the top one. That one blew my mind all the way. What is the difference between all those that I mentioned versus Rihanna? Is that I see dancers moving around and changing clothes. I see their scenery changing. I see different music changing. I see a lot of performance, a lot of guest appearance popping out, and a lot of transitionings. Like there was a lot of it. There was a lot to process. I was like, whoa, what is going on? I need to watch this shit over and over again to process everything. Because the first time I was just like blown away. I was like, what is going on? See, those three that I mentioned, those halftime shows that I mentioned, I feel like those were wow factors. So I guess Rihanna's Super Bowl felt lackluster because there wasn't a wow factor. The wow factor was probably the ceiling of the stage spot ceiling going up and down. That was probably the only wow, and her being pregnant. Other than that, like everything else was just her singing. And I've heard a lot of people saying that she was lip syncing. I was like, wait,
NANI?
really? Well, hold on. I listened to the song. I saw the video again on YouTube, the halftime show, and I rewatched it like a couple of times. And I was like, oh my God, there might be onto something. Yeah, Rihanna probably was lip syncing because as an audio engineer, you can tell whether someone is singing and when they're not. Because there were times in which when she was singing and she put away the microphone, all of a sudden you hear her voice again. I get a lot of people are gonna make the argument like, no, that was probably ad lib of the song and on the beat. It's like, nah, bro, you can have the beat of any song and you can eliminate the acapella. You can have an instrumental version, even getting rid of the ad libs and whatnot. You can. It is possible. I've done it multiple times. A lot of producers done it multiple times. It is possible. The fact that she left it there it's just an indication that she might probably be lip syncing. And I get it that a lot of people, when they hear this coming from me, they're going to be hating on me. That's like, oh, Wolfson, you're hating. I was like, no, I'm trying to be as objective as possible. And I'm trying to be unbiased because you know what? I love Rihanna and I love her music. Like her music ever since she started with Calvin Harris all the way to where she is right now. I love her, but the performance wasn't nothing. It was like, and people don't want to hear that. People, they want to be biased and they want to see it all, but she was pregnant. What do you expect? Like, you can tell that she's on her first trimester of her pregnancy. That means she had a year of performance or planning the Super Bowl, and yet she got pregnant. Like, I can tell that the whole stage setup was a last minute thing because that's all she can do. Because I'm pretty sure once she got pregnant, like, well, this is the best we can do. She can't do all the crazy dances or any of that. And I'm not trying to blame on a pregnant person like, oh, she couldn't do it. Like, no. You know, hey, God bless you and God bless your next child. Go for it, mama. But if you knew you were booked to do a performance, a halftime show, especially a halftime show that's world known, that it's like, oh, the highest show ever, especially big ass superstars for them to pop in the halftime is like the biggest thing ever. It's like that's how you that's the recognition factor to know it's like, yeah, I'm big, I'm this big. You could have just hold it for a bit until you finish it, or at least getting closer to it. But you didn't. And I felt the energy that I felt like she did not care about this halftime show. That's the energy I was feeling for it. She didn't really care. And you can tell because of the stage performance, the song selections. She didn't brought anybody in, and she was just moving from one place to another. Her attitude towards us is like you can tell that she didn't care. That's my 2 cents, guys. That's my opinion of it. I'm criticizing from a performer's, music production, and stage coordinator's perspective, not as not the opinion of some, even though it's opinions, yes, but not as the biased opinion of everyone else or biased opinion who has no relevancy or has no experience in the music or entertainment industry. No, I'm talking with my experience and the years that I've been working and that I'm still working on. It was kind of lackluster. I was expecting a little bit more, and they were overhyping it. It was telling me that this is gonna be big. Like you see the ads all around, and yeah, she made an album, and she's released her first single for the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. Like it was built for that, and I was expecting it. I was like you know how she controlled the narrative. Just people talking about her, and even after, kudos for her because after that, she knew that there was gonna be backlash, and people still talking. Like I'm still talking. Now I'm a little bit late in this department, but you know what? I couldn't hold my peace until I said it out there and let the people know. So those are my thoughts about it. I'm not gonna tackle her anymore. It's already done. You know, it was yesterday's news. I just released it right now, but that's what it is. That's what I think about it. Let me know what you guys think about it. If you guys gotta, think otherwise of my statement, then let me know. But this is my perspective as a live sound engineer, as a performer, as a DJ, as a music producer. That's what I believe. Next topic before we go to movies and TV shows, next topic is the Skrillex album. That's right. Skrillex released 2 fucking albums. Like, holy shit. And something that we've already talked at the beginning of the year in January, that we don't know if, when Skrillex released Rumble, we don't know if it was like, this is like the tease of a single, or is it a tease of an album? And we don't know. And then every week or so, Skrillex releases a new single and a new single. And like I said on my previous critiques of Rumble, it was good, not what I was expecting, not something that I'll be playing. The bootlegs and the remix versions are a whole lot better. And he was able to release other tracks on the way. There were some that were very housey, yes. And then there were some that were very bassy. And I'm like, whoa, okay. And there were quite a few that I feel like I can listen to it and chill, not to put it out there. But they were and then the album came about. I was like, holy shit. The album, I think I mentioned it. I mentioned it in the previous episodes that didn't come out. The album was good. Not what I was expecting, definitely. But it was definitely good. It has a few songs that I did like, But as a music producer, as an audio engineer, the mixing was just next level. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. As a music producer, however, it was not lackluster, but it's a little bit above it. I feel like it was average at best, and I'm not trying to dismiss Skrillex. Skrillex is dope, but it's just I feel that we've waited so long for him to release new music, and when he gave us this, it was more like, all right, cool. Yeah, you release it. Oh, it's fucking fire. It's dope. The level, the sound designing, yes, next level. Production wise, I felt like it felt like it was yesterday's news, not the next new thing. Like nothing that he did was next level. Probably Rumble and Xena. Other than that, it was just like I already heard something like this similar with others. So it's like. But then again, he released another album a week after that. We were not expecting that he was going to release a junior album. First, it was the sophomore album, and now it became a junior album, like the third album. I was like, what the fuck? And I think that's what got people off surprised. The fact that he was able to release a second album in a span of a week or so. And I feel like that album was much better than the first album for some reason. Because, again, I cannot critique on the level of of mixing and sound design because he's one of the best. He's one of the best. But the music production and the selection of songs, I fuck with it a lot more than the first album, the Rumble album, not the later. I actually liked a lot this album. I was enjoying it a lot more myself than I did. I guess the other one catered to a certain audience. It was a little bit more niche. But the second album that he released, it was much more better, and I feel like that went a lot more appealing to a lot of people. So my thoughts out of it on these albums is like I feel like the first album that he released was so-so. It was good, but it wasn't like whoa, good, like revolutionary good. But the second album he released, a whole lot better. It was like a better improvement. It was definitely good. It was on point. I like, obviously it's biased for everybody. Everybody's subjected to their opinions and they say, no, like this one's better. Like you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, I can critique, not every best artist that you idolize is always going to have a great song. I idolize Songboy a lot. He's one of my favorites. Shout out to you, Josh. He's one of my favorites. And there are times that in one of his recent singles, they were like, bro, I was expecting a lot more from you, or it feels like, or it feels like you're a little bit too late to have this type of style. Like I can criticize my own favorite artist. You're allowed to, as long as it comes from an objective perspective and you have the musical background out of it. Sure, then have that healthy conversation. It's like, this song is dope, but I feel it could have done better compared to the other times that they released. Now, the song that released after that song, it is a better improvement, this or that. Yes, but if you're gonna say no, the song sucks because he sucks and that's not a fair criticism. That's not being objective about it. That's just hating at that point, So yeah, I can say that there are songs that I was like not with it with Skrillex, but it was still nonetheless good. It was good. I like the second album, though. I like the second album a lot more than the first one. So let's move on to now movies and TVs. I want to say this very quickly. Last of Us, my God, it continues to reach heights. Like it continues to go higher and higher, more than what we expected, man. It's going next level, man. And the last two episodes shows you like, wow. Like what I love about, obviously, Last of Us, because I played the video game, so I know how it ends. But seeing it in a live adaptation, that's exactly how you're supposed to tackle video game adaptations. That's how you're supposed to tackle anime adaptations, cartoons, whatever, you name it. If you're going to do a live adaptation of a certain series, a certain show, or a certain video game, whatever HBO Max is doing, that's exactly how they're supposed to do it. That's how everybody's supposed to do it. Not the Netflix crap that Netflix keep fucking around with all the anime adaptations. Not like that. Not even the Resident Evil that Netflix adapted. Not even the Death Note movie. Not even the Cowboy Bebop series. Like, no, that was worse. Great people, sure. Great actors, yeah. But the execution, horrible. That's not how you're supposed to do it. HBO Max is literally taking the next level of live video game adaptations. That's how you're supposed to tackle it, because it's going by the book. It's going by the source instead of inventing the new wheel, which is like, that's the stupidest thing to do. And it's going on point. And the emotions, like even though you already know how it goes, the fact that you get to relive it again and put a scene at a different perspective and adding new stories to it. They're adding new stories so that way it can feel like okay, and answer some questions like, oh, okay, now I understand why this is like that. It's next level. I commend HBO Max for making this show. Like, oh my God, it's unbelievable. HBO Max has a great track record of doing adaptations, whether it's books like Game of Thrones and now Last of Us is like they're on the great path right now. Like, kudos to those guys. Keep it on, man. You should try to watch Last of Us because it's a great show. To finish it off, we're going to finish it off with the review of Antman and the Wasp Quantamania. Here's the thing, guys. I'm very objective. Like, when it comes to movies and video games and TV shows, I'm very objective. Especially, I'm a geek by heart. Geek and nerd. by heart. Obviously, I've never read the comic books, but I am familiar with them and I know the stories. And obviously, when they brought these stories to the MCU, to Disney, to Marvel Studios, and they bring it on to movies, it's amazing. I can critique a lot of movies that have been released up to now. Like I can tell you that the worst one so far is Eternals, based on TV shows. Like I don't know which one I feel like it was like blah. WandaVision was actually pretty good because I was like, oh, probably the Falcon, the Winter Soldier, that was kind of I just enjoyed the fight scenes. The fight scenes were on point. Loki was great. The storyline was actually pretty great. And a lot of plot twists on it. So I was like, whoa. Moon Knight was like, if you're not a fan of Moon Knight or you're not familiar with the story, and if you don't pay attention to the storyline, you're gonna get confused right away. So yeah, that's definitely for sure. Ms. Marvel was like, It was like I didn't expect much out of it. And that goes with some of the movies. Like the Eternals was a bad movie. The first Doctor Strange movie, it was like, it's okay. You know, for this Dark World, the first and second four was like, okay, whatever. Ragnarok to me was the best one. And that goes with the other movies as well. So yeah, I just felt that in Antman and the Wasp Quantamania, the critics are being a little bit too harsh at that movie because when I saw it, it was good. It's not the best one, not the worst one either. It was good. I was like, okay, cool. Good thing I saw it. I now have a better understanding. And this movie literally jumps and sets the terms of the Marvel's Phase 5. You know, this is what's gonna bring Kang the Conqueror into Phase 5 and wanting to know why. And it ties with Loki's storyline for the second season. It ties with it. So it's actually like, it was actually pretty good. Not that many wow factors, but it's a movie that was necessary to make to jumpstart the next phase of Marvel. And its next big bad villain. Our big bad villain was Thanos for 3 phases. Phase 4 and 5 and is based on Kang. So that's what's gonna be. Phase 6 and 7 and 8, 9, 10. I think like phase 6 and 7 is gonna be based on Victor Doom, like Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Four. I think those are gonna be like the next big bad guys. And then the last phases is gonna be Galactus. That's the end all be all, you know. So I gotta say, for Rotten Tomatoes and a lot of other critics, you guys are criticizing this movie way too harsh than what it should. It's not a bad movie, and telling me that it's the same as the Eternals, that it's as bad as the Eternals. No. Eternals was definitely a bad movie. It was like we didn't need this. Like this was a storyline that we didn't care. Oh, celestial beings. Oh, that give us a hint that yes, we have a Galactus. Oh, and Thanos has a brother. Oh, and Black Knight is coming, and Blade too. Eternals was just bad. However, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania was actually pretty good. It was much more better than I expected. Sure, there was some comedic tones that it was a hit and miss. I was like, I see what you mean, but it's like not that funny. But the ones that were laughing, that were good. I get it, but it's to give it a 54% is like, that's a little bit too harsh, you know? If anything, I would give it a solid 70% or a little bit more, a little bit high. Because it was a good story. It's not a good story. It was more like, it's a basic story, but adding a few elements so that way it can tie it up to the next couple of phases and have the Avengers, you know, fighting Kang, the Conqueror. It was good overall, so I can't complain about it. And I can't say like, oh my God, it was the worst thing ever. Like, no, it was actually pretty good. It was, you know, it was whatever, but it's not like, oh, the worst thing ever. Like, you got to compare it to Eternals. Like, no, Eternals felt like a drag. Eternals felt like, when is this over? Eternals definitely felt like this is not a good movie. Versus the Ant-Man, it was like, all right, I enjoyed the movie. Would I watch it again? I don't know. I don't think I'll watch it again. If I watch it again, it's so I can see all the Easter eggs. Other than that, it's like, it's a good movie. It's just something to start off for the next couple of phases. So that's my opinion based on it. Like, I feel like it's way too harsh, and a lot of people are harshing it way too much to what it is, you know? But those are my thoughts, guys. What do you guys think about it? Please let me know in the comments down below. Like and subscribe for your weekly episode of the Lone Wolv Podcast. We're going to wrap this up right now. So thank you guys for tuning in. And remember, every week it's a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So always remember to like and subscribe. And I'm going to do my best to be better at this. And like I said, if I got nothing else to talk about, if there wasn't something to talk about, I'm going to bring a new topic to talk about. So like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications so you guys don't able to miss it. You can always check on my episodes on the audio platforms for SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts for the Lone Wolv Podcast or Wolves and Music. As well as you can check my videos and for the Lone Wolv Podcast or the Wolfpack Podcast at youtube.com/the Lone Wolv Podcast or at Lone Wolv Pod with a V, guys. Just remember V's. Comment down below and let me hear your thoughts, share your experiences. And guys, like I said, if you guys got a specific topic that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm going to do my best to cover on the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys at the next one, all right? Peace.
I can't do no more.